Truth Teacher coming at you with another short video. So, I just saw the news that the charges against Jose Alba, the bodega worker who is being charged with murder, the charges have been dropped. And I really got to say that I'm extremely happy that this decision was made, because honestly, I don't think that he should have been charged with anything in the first place. And I know that there's a lot of people out there who've been trying to turn this into a racial issue. And listen, man, that's just completely ridiculous. The fact is, like everybody could see from the footage that this was an elderly man who was being attacked. And he did what he had to do to protect himself. And unfortunately, the person who was attacking him died in the process. But you know something? You play stupid games and you win stupid prizes. I have absolutely no sympathy whatsoever for the quote unquote victim, because in my eyes, he's not a victim. He's a perpetrator. He was somebody who was taking advantage of an elderly person who he perceived as being weaker than himself, that he could take advantage of, that he could intimidate, and things didn't work out the way he thought they would. For everybody talking about, oh, he didn't have to kill him, he just pushed him. Listen, that's not the world that we're living in right now, man. The reality is, for people who are working in kind of professions, right, service professions in the city, it's very dangerous. A lot of bodega owners have been killed. Bodega workers have been killed. Shop owners have been killed. I mean, just look, not too long ago, we had a situation in a McDonald's in Brooklyn where a young lady who was working there got killed. You don't know what's going to happen when you have irrational people come into an establishment, especially at night. You have absolutely no idea what their intentions are or what's going to happen. How many times have we heard stories where somebody comes in to rob a store, and even after they give the person the money or whatever it is that they wanted, they turn around and they kill the person? So honestly, miss me with this whole nonsense. Oh, he just gave him a little push. You don't know. He had no idea, no way of knowing in that moment that his life was not in danger. And once again, like I'm saying, this had nothing to do with race, because the perpetrator who ended up dying just happened to be African American. From what we can gather, we don't know his exact ethnicity, but let's just say he's a person of African descent. Just because people of the African diaspora here in the United States have a history of being the victims of racism doesn't mean that every time, it doesn't mean that they're immune from being criminals. And that if they ended up paying a heavy price for their misbehavior, then, somehow it's because of discrimination. We really need to stop this bullshit. Because here's what I know to be true. You're talking about bodega workers stabbed and killed the attacker. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, this is what I know to be true. If that bodega worker had been black, he would have done the exact same thing to him. These people, we got to really stop throwing our loyalty to people just because they happen to be a member of our own ethnic group. We really got to stop that, because the fact of the matter is, these kind of criminals, they have no loyalty whatsoever to any of us. When they feel like victimizing somebody, that's all they care about. They care about what they can get. For those of us like myself, who grew up in the 80s and the 90s, we know that our neighborhoods were being held hostage by criminals who were not only selling poison to our community, but were targeting members of the community with violence. And it didn't matter about skin color, race, or anything like that whatsoever. Hey Lily, what's up? I can't really read your comments because I'm walking. I'll call you after the live. It's not going to take very long. But, like I was saying, our communities were under attack because you didn't know when you were going to get caught up in a shootout. Because they didn't want to just get rid of whoever they had beef with, but they wanted to get rid of anybody that was around because they didn't want any witnesses. So if they weren't going to shoot somebody, they weren't going to just shoot one person. They were going to spray the whole fucking block. And a lot of people got killed by stray bullets or bullets that were really meant for somebody else. Once upon a time, there was an honor code, even among gangbangers and criminals. No women, no children, no elderly. There was a certain basic level of respect. That doesn't exist anymore. Everybody is fair game. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who is this. Kids, women, old people, everybody is fair game. For God's sakes, man, even Rosa Parks, the mother of the civil rights movement, before she passed away, she got beaten up and robbed. So these people have no loyalty whatsoever. So why the hell are we out there caping for these assholes when they get what they deserve? I teach a dance class. At a local community center here in Jersey City. I haven't been able to have classes since COVID, so these are my first in-person classes that I'm teaching. And, even before COVID came, my class sizes were dwindling. And the reason why? Because the elderly people in the neighborhood were afraid to come out because they were afraid of the violence that was happening in the neighborhoods, like shootouts happening all the time. Like there was that incident where these people had shot up these Hasidic Jews in Jersey City. If you remember that incident, that's the neighborhood where I teach my classes. And that was unfortunate what happened to those people, but what the news doesn't tell you is that neighborhood, it's like the freaking wild west. There's shootouts happening just about like every week. because the drug, and especially now after, because of COVID, the gangs are fighting with each other for territory. And there's a playground right near there. They don't care if the kids are out there. They don't care who's walking back and forth. They're just going to open fire whenever they feel like it. So you tell me, if you got that kind of mentality, where is the loyalty? Right? That's your own people. Where's the loyalty? Why aren't you, instead of fucking shooting up people, why aren't you out there looking out for the community? You're doing something, creating some kind of help for the community. I mean, instead of freaking selling drugs and killing each other over it, how about you open up like a daycare center or something? There's a lot of people that work over there, and daycare is really, expensive, trying to find some place, for working parents, especially for people that work, like past 5 o'clock. Why don't you create something, and, you could charge the people something for it. You all come together, put your money together, and create something that can help the community. I don't see nobody doing that. So where is the loyalty? So I'm supposed to feel loyalty towards some asshole that are victimizing innocent people in these communities? No, I'm sorry. I don't want to hear it. And, I gotta say, I think a big problem, the reason why we have this kind of behavior, is because there's just this sense of entitlement that a lot of young people have these days. And something, when I was a school teacher, I saw this. I saw it beginning to happen. I don't know, sometime between when I left school and when I became a teacher. This liberal, permissive attitude came into the educational system, where, as teachers, our hands were tied, and we had to walk on eggshells when it came to dealing with these kids. These kids could tell you anything about your mother, could tell you all kinds of 4-letter words and, sexually explicit things, whatever. God have mercy on you if you even said damn. You could lose your license if you had the wrong kind of principal, in your school. I remember one incident. I was working in the school, and we would have, at the end of the week, we'd have like these little rap sessions, where everybody could just like talk about, any problems that they were having or whatever, kind of like a group therapy session. And, in that kind of setting, the format is like everybody takes their turn. And there's this one girl that every time somebody starts to say something, she wants to cut in and, start talking. And so I said to her, and not in like an angry, way. I said, sweetie, you got to understand something, that the way this works is everybody takes their turn. Now, you already had your turn to speak, and everybody listened to what you had to say. So now it's your classmates' turn. And what you are doing, you may not understand it, you may not see it that way, but the message that you're giving to your classmates when you do what you do is that you really don't care about them. It's very inconsiderate for you to do that. Tell me why, at the end of the day, I get called to the principal's office. Mr. T, we heard you called a student inconsiderate. You're so confrontational, Mr. T. Like, I'm the one that's getting in trouble. I'm confrontational because I'm trying to teach a child, a child basic manners. So, these kids, they grow up in this setting, in the school, where it's made perfectly clear to them that they have all these rights. They have all these rights and the teacher cannot violate their rights. But what they don't understand is that when you go outside in the real world, nobody gives a fuck about your feelings. Sorry to be blunt, but that's just the truth. Nobody cares. One school that I was working in, man, listen, I saved this kid from getting his ass handed to him by an adult because they, before the school would start, they'd all be out there on the corner and, really blocking the sidewalk. So this man, he's on his way to work, big dude. And, he's annoyed. He's like, come on, man, you all got to move over to the side. You're blocking the sidewalk. And this kid turns around and, says something to him out the back of his neck. And dude was about to fucking lay his ass out. He was lucky that I was there and I was able to step in and mediate so that this kid didn't get his ass handed to them. Hey, Coqui Angel, what's up, man? Sorry, I can't, really look at all your comments and stuff. I hope, everybody else can see them and they get, posted after, I do the live. Sometimes I see the comments come back up and sometimes I don't. Let me see, can I hold this? Hold on a second. I'm learning how to do this. Okay, Coqui Angel says, hi, Truth, how are you? I'm doing fine. I saw the same thing, the criminals of back when I had a code. Yeah, there was a code. People can't accept the truth anymore. Children learn from their parents and take on those negative attitudes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, that's the thing. It's like we've gotten this idea, this bullshit ideology that came about in the 60s with this fucking asshole Dr. Spock and shit. That you gotta treat your kids like they're fucking made out of porcelain and shit, or otherwise they're gonna break. What field do you work in? What field do I work in right now? I'm on my way to be an ultrasound technician right now. I'm a dancer, choreographer, teacher, performer, but, I don't want to be economically dependent on the arts anymore, so I'm moving into the medical field. And right now I'm studying for my certification, so I'm really working my ass off. I just took a break. But yeah, in the 60s, this idea that you have to, this liberal idea that you have to be so permissive with these children, otherwise they're going to be damaged, and oh my god, and we can't tell them the truth, okay, you know what, you're going to fail this class because you didn't do your work, or you need to apply yourself more to get good grades. No, that doesn't exist. Now, if you're a teacher, you're expected to give these kids passing grades, whether they deserve it or not, because we don't want to hurt their feelings. Man, once again, fuck your feelings. I guess children learn from the family, but many times family blame the school. Yeah, it's just a blame game. Nobody wants to take responsibility for their actions, So you got a lot of these parents that don't know their ass from their ankles, and they want to blame the school. Well, not even the school, but they want to blame us, the teachers, right? And then the administration in the school wants to dump on the teacher, and everything the kid does, it's our fault. So if the kid is living in a dysfunctional home with no discipline and went to sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning, then they show up to our classroom and they fucking passed out sleeping on the desk. Now it's our fault as the teacher because we're supposed to have good classroom management and know how to keep the child engaged so they don't fall asleep. Miss me with that bullshit. So this is what we have. We have a whole generation of people who feel entitled and think that they can talk to people any kind of way and do whatever the hell they want and get away with it. Like they're not supposed to have consequences. Yeah, I mean, look, I had in the Bronx It got to the point where teachers were being assaulted, teachers were being beaten up, thrown down the stairs. I had one kid jump up in my face like this. I said, "Do it. I will fuck you up." And he's, "Oh, you can't touch me. You're a teacher." I said, "Let me tell you something. There ain't nothing in my contract that says that I need to get my ass kicked by you. So if you feeling froggy, jump. I will fuck you up. And I want you to go home and tell your mom I said that." I wasn't playing it. Listen, man, it's like the kind of tension you had on you to always be, you know, in check, because if they felt like it, they could really destroy your career. But at that point, when that child jumped up in my face, I was like, I am not letting some fucking sixth grader beat my ass. Like, oh, hell no. That is not happening. So at that point, I ain't give a fuck. But this is the climate that our kids are being raised in. They think that they're supposed to, "Hey, Morena, what's up, sweetie?" They think that they're supposed to be able to do whatever they want to do, say whatever they want to say, go on with all kinds of craziness, and there's no consequences. So this is what we're seeing with this individual. I mean, first of all, this woman's EBT card gets declined. Bitch, you ain't had $1 to buy some fucking potato chips? Like, okay, so that's the one thing. Why are you getting upset with the bodega worker because he does, "Oh, potato chips, that's not a lot. He could have just gave her the potato." No, get the hell out of here. It's a business. It's not a charity. It's a freaking business. Come on, man. Potato chip. You think that you're just going to give somebody free potato chips and you think it's going to stop there? Then everybody hears about it. "Oh, they're giving out free shit over there." If you do it for one person, you're going to have every fucking lowlife coming around expecting free shit. That's not the way you run a business. So she goes and she gets her man. You mean to tell me you, her man, you couldn't buy your girl a $1 bag of potato chips? What the hell is wrong with you? You're going to get up and go behind the counter. Sir, that's not your place. Not only are you... And what the hell were you going behind the counter for? What did you think? What were you... I don't even get it. What the hell were you going behind the counter for? What were you trying to get? Everybody's got loose change. Hell yeah. But why is he going behind the counter? What did he think he was going to accomplish going behind the counter? Yeah, she got her man killed and her ass needs to be in jail right now. If they looking to put anybody in jail, they need to put that bitch in jail because she stabbed Jose. So how come she's not been arrested with, assault charges? I don't understand why this woman is still walking the streets out here free. This is a crazy bitch willing to stab somebody over $1 potato chips. Good Lord. So not only does he take it on himself to get up and go behind the counter, yeah, being a bully, going behind the counter, but now you push an elderly man. You can see the man is old. You push him, and then you have the nerve to be hemming him up by the back of his neck because you thought you had a victim. I'll bet you anything, if Jose Alba was 20 years younger, 6 feet, and built like a brick shit house, that motherfucker would have stayed shut. He wouldn't have had any goddamn thing to say. He'd be like, "Oh, come on, let's go someplace else." He wouldn't have gotten up and start fucking smelling himself and get up behind that counter. Hell no. But because he saw this was an old person who looked frail, he thought that he could flex his muscle. But what he didn't know is he had an ace up his sleeve, and now That motherfucker's like 6 feet under, pushing up daisies. Never underestimate people. You never know when you just might run across a real one. So he played, or as I say, motherfucker acted like a pussy and he got fucked. But the other part of this situation that disturbed me was, why was Jose Alba even arrested and charged in the first place? And I'm gonna tell you something, man. Like, that DA, they need to really be looking into finding some kind of way of removing this man from his position, because story that I heard is that this dude was really soft on all kinds of crime, to the point where everybody starts, hey David, what's up, man? Daniel, how you doing, man? This man was so damn soft on crime, to the point where people started complaining. And now I guess he wants to make a name for himself and use Jose Alba as a means to an end to make a name for himself. And listen, man, these DAs out here are crooked as shit, man. And I know from experience, a lot of these DAs, they make a name for themselves based on the amount of prosecutions that they have. I had a DA try to hit me with a felony charge over some stupid shit that was really a misdemeanor that usually gets thrown out of court. They tried to arrest me with a felony charge, and then, oh well, we'll plead, we'll knock it down to a plea. But they wanted me to plead to something that was still going to leave a felony charge on my record. And I was like, hell no, I'm not doing that. Now, good thing is that I was in college, so I wasn't working a day job. And they thought that they was going to wear me down. I wasn't going for it. Eventually, it got thrown out. But, the lawyer that I had said, look, I've never seen anything like this before. This is ridiculous. Usually something like this, public urination. Look, don't judge me, all right? I'm almost goddamn 60 years old. When I gotta go, I gotta go. It was not indecent exposure, okay? Oh, whatever, like, dude, usually that kind of thing gets thrown out. This motherfucker was trying to make, it was a new DA. This is what the lawyer told me. The DA was just fresh out of school and he's trying to make a name for himself. So he's trying to make a name for himself on my back. So, this is ridiculous, man. Like, anybody who saw that footage of Jose Alba and saw what went down, and that in this city, in New York City, there's so many instances of bodega workers who get killed, delivery people getting killed. Just last week, crossing Willis Avenue Bridge in the Bronx on his electric bike, delivery worker, a restaurant worker from Manhattan, got killed. He's on his way back home and he got killed crossing that bridge. It's so bad that they've got like a patrol, like all the restaurant workers did like a grassroots patrol kind of thing, because food delivery people coming across that bridge are routinely robbed and beaten. How many of these gypsy cab drivers were killed? They get the money and they still get killed. So the climate of what it's like for working people, the most vulnerable people in our society. And you see what happens, and you're going to try to charge this guy with murder? Listen, man, I'm really glad that by Jackson Avenue, yeah, it's exactly. Exactly. I'm really glad that this thing got coverage and the wider world got to hear about it, because I'm telling you, if people, if this thing didn't get the attention that it got nationwide and people started pitching a bitch, they would have ruined that man's life. I guarantee it. Yeah, there are Cookie Angel. There are good parts in the Bronx, up by the Pelham area. There's a lot of good areas in the Bronx. Not so much in the South Bronx, but yeah, I mean, the once you move like up north to the east or to the west, it's a lot. Conditions are much better up there. But man, I'm telling you, they would have ruined this man's life and his family's life if it hadn't been for the fact that this thing got nationwide coverage and people pitched a bitch. So once again, I'm gonna end it here. But once again, justice has been served thanks to people just like you and me standing up and letting our voices be heard. All charges of murder have been dropped against Jose Alba, and I'm extremely happy to hear it. Thank God. God bless Jose Alba. God bless Jose Alba's family, and to the families of to the family members of the person who was deceased. Sorry that you have to be going through what you're going through, but unfortunately, he made the wrong decision. And man, look, this dude has a history of this. Can you imagine? Dude was out on parole for assaulting a police officer. So you're on parole for assaulting a police officer, and here we go again, like lack of consequences. So you put your hands on a police officer and you get a slap on your wrist. So now you're smelling yourself and I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. So for his family members, I'm really sorry that you have to be experiencing this, because I'm sure that over the course of your life, he didn't make life easy for y'all either. So sorry that they have to be experiencing that, but I hope that young people will start to learn the lesson. Like, you need to stop all the bullshit. Y'all can't just be going everywhere you feel like and just wilding out any kind of way. There are consequences to your actions, and sometimes, it's like a game of roulette. You think you're on a winning streak, but sooner or later your lucky streak runs out and you buck up against the wrong one. So for all of us out here who have young people in our lives, you need to take them aside and have a talk with them. You need to take responsibility for your actions. Be aware of how you speak and how you treat people when you're out here in these streets, because you never know. The person that you open up your mouth to in the wrong way might be the one that ends up handing your ass to you on a silver platter. So with that, guys, everybody, see you later until my next video. Love, light, peace, prosperity, and perfect health to all of y'all. Bye bye now.